Hey everybody. In this demo, I want to show you how to include images in your process blogs by using the image embed tag in HTML. So I want to start out by showing you how I do it, which I use Lightroom to manage my photos. One of the main reasons that I use this and find it beneficial is that I take the majority of my process photos on my phone. And so here's a project. I've already selected the photos that I want to include. Now these are just the photos I have already selected and limited down to the ones that I wanted to retouch and color correct in Lightroom. So I added these all from my phone. I selected a few that kind of outline the details of the whole process, and these are the ones that I want to include. So you hold down Command and click on the ones that you want to select. So for this exercise, I'm not exporting all of these. I'm just exporting a few that are selected. Looks like there's 9 there. So I'm going to go to export. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because in export, you can control things. So instead of this being just like the full size image, which would make each image huge, huge in terms of web standards, like 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10, 12 megabytes, depending on your camera. Instead, I can export them for a size that's a little bit more reasonable for the web and still gives us a very large image. So for this one, I've set it so that the longest side, whether it's vertical or horizontal, the longest side will be 1920. And this is because these images are pretty close to HD. So HD is 1920 by 1080. Quality 70%, that's pretty good. So the other thing I want to show you is the custom name. Now by default, these photos are all named, whatever my phone decided to name them, which oftentimes is not the most useful name. So instead, I'm naming these. So 2021 public art DSM ornaments. That's what this project was. It was a public art project around the holidays. And so what it'll do is even shows you down here the example of the name. It'll name it that, and then it'll add the number at the end. So I'm going to export these 9 photos, and I'm going to go into our demo folder. So demo here. So in the class, into my projects, into the website. Now I'm going to put these in week 3. So I need a new folder. So do week 3 for my 3rd week. And then I'm going to put all my images in an images folder for this week. So I'll say create and then export. It goes through, it does its job. Sets all the settings, all the retouching, the color correction things that I did in Lightroom. And now I have my week 3 folder with my images. And you can see here, because I had already done I had done those 8 images before, you can see here it actually started counting with 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No problem. Okay, so then if I go back into brackets, now I have my week 3 folder, but I need an index.html. So I'm going to make a new file, and like I did before, because week 1 is really simple, I'm going to copy the text from that, paste it here, change this to week 3, delete that text, and then save it into my week 3 folder as index.html. And this should still all work. So the back to home link will still work because it's still going up 1 directory level to the index page, and the style sheet reference is still good because of the .. It's going up 1 level to the style sheet. Okay, so to embed my images, which are included in this images folder, I'm going to use the image tag. Excuse me. So I start out by typing image, and then src, which is short for source, equals, and then you can see here it starts giving me the path. So I can do images, and then I'll just select the first one, and then I can close that tag off. And you can see here in the live preview that it's added my image, except it's added it at its full size. So it's massive. It's way too big. So what I'm going to do within the tag is I'm going to add a width attribute, and I'm going to set it to 100%. So you'll notice that it is now 100% of the width of the available space, taking into account the margin on the side, which we've assigned in our CSS. And because I've only defined the width, CSS and HTML automatically will scale it proportionally. So it's not stretching my image. So if I say width 100%, That's 100% the width of the container that it's in, which means it scaled it down, as you saw, and it also adjusted the height accordingly. So now, if I would like to add my other images, I can simply copy and paste a bunch of times and then go through and change these numbers. So change that one to 10, 11, 12, 13. And so part of the benefit of exporting the files the way that I did and renaming them, or having Lightroom rename them as they're exported, is that now and I think I copied one too many. So it goes through 17. So for the purposes of this site, for this project, it's very easy to rename them and just copy and paste over and over again because they're all named in sequential order, 9, 10, 11, 12 through 17. So you see here, all my images of my process are displayed here in the order that I have them here. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know this, but I know this. These two images are in the wrong order. This image is where I processed the sound and generated a vector file. This image is where I took that vector file, brought it into a 3D program, and extruded it. So what I need to do is I need to find that file, which is that one there. You can see because it's highlighted. At least I think that's the right one. Wait, is that one? I guess it would be this one. So I need to grab that one, and I need to move it before that one. Then I'm going to go through, clean up my spacing and my indenting. Okay, so so the process here is like I record the sound. This is what came down in the derecho storm. I find a chunk that I like, cut them up. Then I take the recorded sound, I process it, I make it 3D, I 3D print it, I glue it onto the wood, and then I hide them around the city and people go find them. Okay. So the other thing I can do is if I am not wanting all of these images to be super huge and like take up the whole space, I can also reduce them down to half the size. Now, if I do 50% and then do another 50%, that's exactly the width here. And it's not enough for it to stack up next to it. So what I actually need to do just in order to manage it here is I need to make one of them 49%. And you can actually even make it like 49.9%, 5%, 49.5%, because you'll notice there's like this automatic little margin here. So this just cleans that up just that littlest bit. And then you can go down in any of these images that you would want to be only half the size. You can put them in at like 49.5%, and then that will shrink them up and they will stay next to each other. So that is bringing in images and embedding them, and also